I'm Dustin from Columbia Inland Corporation, and today I'm going to be going through the assembly of the Pumper Car Junior. Okay, so I've pulled everything out of the box and I'm going to go through all the components. So here you have 4 wheels and the 4 caps to install those wheels. Here you have a steering control arm and the nuts and bolts to install those. Here's the pumper pin with 2 caps for installation of that. This is the pumper arm guard. It comes with 6 screws to install that. This is your rear axle assembly with rear axle mounting brackets. You install this using these 4 long screws and 2 shorter screws. This is your chain guard with installed spring and chain, and these are the rear axle covers. These 6 screws and this nut and bolt are all used to install these components. Which brings us over to the pumper arm. This is the pumper arm assembly, and this is the rear brake assembly. And then finally we have the body, which already has your steering installed for your front end. The first step to assembling your Pumper Car Junior is to install the brake assembly. To do that, we will flip over the entire unit and we will just place the brake assembly in place. If you try to place it the wrong way, it won't fit. So if you place it the correct way, it just sits right in there, and you'll notice there's this nice notch here for the brake assembly to rest. Then we take these brackets and we will install these brackets in line with these holes, these pre-drilled holes that are on the body. We install these brackets using these shorter screws. Finish putting the screw in. Notice that I am using a Phillips head screwdriver. We do not recommend using a drill. Then I'm going to go and install the rear axle assembly. To do that, I will use these rear axle mounting brackets and these 4 screws. When you install this, it's important to note that this end is different than this end. And you will want this end pointing away from the brake assembly arm when it's installed like this. So to install this, you'll take these brackets and you will fit them onto the rear axle assembly like so. Notice they do have a front and a back. And then these have guides that will fit into these brackets that you've already installed. And then insert these long screws. Alright, now that we've finished installing the rear axle assembly, we're going to move on to installing our pumper arm assembly. First step in that is to take this pen and put 1 cap on the pen using a hammer or a mallet. Then we will take our pumper arm assembly, and in order, we're going to fit it through this hole inside the body. In order to do that, we're going to align the top of the handle so that it is flat with the side of the body. This is the top, this is the bottom. And then the other thing to notice is that there's this notch right here. When you install this notch, you're going to want it to be up towards the front of the vehicle. We'll just guide the top of the handle in through the body and pull it up into position. Then the next step is to align the holes right here with the hole right here in the body. Once we get those lined up, we'll take the pen and we'll put the pen through all those holes in the body, all the way through the pumper arm assembly, and out the other side. Once we have that all the way through, we can install the other cap. You can just kind of get it to sit on there. And then give it a nice firm whack with a hammer. Now your pumper arm is attached. After we have our pumper arm assembly installed, we are going to install the steering control arm and the steering column guide. You can use wheels to kind of give yourself some stability on your work surface. You set them like this, and now you have a nice stable unit to work on. Take the steering column guide and place it over the steering column. It's important that this bend is going back towards the rear of the unit, as well as the T-shape steering column guide. The bottom of the T would also be towards the back of the unit. You'll align the holes in this with the holes in the body and install using 2 of the screws. Now that that's installed, I will install the steering control arm. You'll notice there's a slot right here, and this one edge is flat and one edge has a kind of curve to it. You'll want the flat edge to be towards the front of your pumper car, and then we'll feed the steering column through the slot in the control arm here, and then align the hole in the control arm with the hole in the knuckle. And then feed one of your bolts through all of this and attach them using a 7/16 inch wrench and a screwdriver. So once you get this nut and bolt all the way tightened down, it's important to back it off a 1/4 of a turn. That'll allow that to spin freely, and also so that when you steer the unit, it will not bind. Next, we will take the whole unit and set it on its end like this. And then we are going to install the chain guard with the installed chain and spring. And this is a little bit of a challenge, but you do need to feed this up on the sprocket. Like that. And you'll notice that this is how this is the operating mechanism for the pumper car. And then you'll attach this spring through the hole on the pumper arm assembly. And there are 2 holes on here, so you want to install it on the top hole. And then using a wrench and a screwdriver, tighten down this nut and bolt. So once you've got your chain installed, you'll take the whole unit, put it back onto its back, and then you're going to take the chain cover and pull it into place, and you're aligning it there's 6 holes on the body, and you're going to line them all up and install with these screws, starting at the front. Using a screwdriver. Now that I've got the front 4 screws installed on this cover, I'm going to install these rear axle covers as well. These kind of fit and they're a little tight. Underneath the axle and above the guard. And then there's a hole in them, and you'll line that hole up with the hole in this cover and the hole in the body. And install using one of these screws. And repeat that on this side. After that's finished, we will take the whole unit, flip it back onto its bottom, and then we'll take the pumper arm cover, and this fits over the handlebar like that, and then you position it this way, slide it right down onto place, and it lines up with the holes on the body. Install that cover using these shorter screws. Now that your pumper arm cover is installed, the last step is to put on the wheels. I'm going to go ahead and flip it all the way back over. And all the wheels are pretty straightforward except for one, and that is this wheel right here. You need to make sure that these engage the wheel properly, and you'll notice that there are spokes right here that conform with these spokes right here. So when you're putting this wheel on, it's important to get everything to engage properly. Once they are in position, just take one of these caps and install it with a hammer or mallet. And you'll repeat that for all the rest of the wheels. Now that we've got 4 wheels, your Pumper Car Junior is ready to go. If you have any additional questions, feel free to contact us at any of the contact information down below.